Hello, everybody. It is me, classyfenns, and today it's time for my top 7 best games and DLC for 2022. As well, there was a lot of new games I played this year and a lot of new DLC for games that I tried. These 7 stood head and shoulders above the rest for me. Now, before I get into my top 7 picks, the rules for this are extremely simple. It had to either be a game that came out this year or DLC that came out this year. It had to be something I enjoyed, and it had to be something that either met or exceeded what I expect for quality. And in a lot of cases, it really just blew the quality expectations out of the water. And while the top 3 for this are in order, 7 through 4 are not. Because those ones I had a really hard time deciding. So there you could rearrange them and they would still be good. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Coming in at number 7 is the new Toyota GR86 Cup from iRacing. And the only reason it is at the very bottom of this list is that it is the only DLC on this entire list. This car is, full stop, one of the best cars they have put into the sim, as it's one of the most well-made cars that they have done on the sim, in my opinion. And it's easy and fun to drive. Like, it's MX5 levels of easy and fun to drive. And above all, it finally bridges the gap between rookies and D-Class. Because, firstly, it comes with your subscription, so you don't have to buy it. And in terms of performance, it is quite similar to the MX5. You could, in my opinion, with very little seat time in the GR86, coming up from the MX5 in rookies to the GR86, in my opinion, people could probably, with just a tiny bit of practice in the GR86, jump from the MX5 into the GR86. And prior to this, there hasn't really, in my opinion, been anything that really bridges that gap between rookies and D-Class. Because you get out of rookies and out of the Mazdas, and it's immediately up into significantly harder and faster cars. And there really needed to be something to gap the MX5 to the faster cars. Although you still can, because it's in D-Class alongside the TCRs, the GT4s, the Ferrari Challenge. You can still do that, but iRacing at least is now giving people the option to just go from the MX5s up to something maybe just a touch faster that isn't much different handling-wise from the MX5. So now, if you really wanted to, you could take your time and go rookie MX5s into GR86, and then once you're comfortable with that and feel comfortable driving, then from there, you could now jump up to the TCRs or the GT4s or the Ferrari Challenge, or just jump straight to C, where they then have also GT4s and TCRs, but instead of being 15 fixed races, they are 30-minute opens. And above all, for me, this is one of the few cars on iRacing that I can have fun in and not be extremely afraid of it, like the TCRs or the GT3s or the GT4s, although I can get a GT4 around the track consistently, but it's not going to be pretty. And with that, we're going to move on to number 6. So, coming in at number 6 is Multiverses. This is at number 6 because it's just fun to play. It's a ton of fun to play. I'd rather play Multiverses over Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl because, well, Multiverses has actual charm and actual character, unlike Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl. And the only things keeping it really from being as good as like Smash and Rivals of Aether for me are it's just one mode. Whereas Smash and Rivals of Aether have tons of different modes that you can play that are just as fun as just fighting. And they add a lot to the game. But Multiverses, to me, is a true competitor with Smash and Rivals of Aether. Now, on to number 5. Coming in at number 5 is Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. And this is the port of it to modern consoles and the PC. And I'm going to keep it brief, just like Multiverses. This game was good. It was really good. And it was just a ton of fun to play. Had a ton of fun playing it against just the bots. And never really gone online because there isn't really many fighting games that I'm willing to go online and play. But I had a blast with it. So it gets to be at number 5. Racing its way into number 4 on the list, and my racing game of the year is Grid Legends. I love this game. This game is genuinely one of my favorites of the year. It is by far the best racing game I have gotten to play in 2022, and it fully deserves this. I tried it initially on the 10-hour free trial on EA Play, which I have because of Game Pass Ultimate, and then I was actually considering buying the game. And then Prime Day happened, and they gave the game away for free, and I was so excited to just be able to have this game. And ever since, it's been one of my favorites to boot up and play. And although there is some small things, like the weird online and the, in my opinion, lackluster story, and also the not very large amount of licensed and official real-world tracks in the game, so much else with this game makes up for it. Like, well, there isn't many or a ton of actual licensed real-world tracks in the game. The ones that are there are fantastic. And they're amazingly well made. And they look beautiful. And those are backed up by the just as well made and beautiful looking fantasy tracks, which are just aplenty in this game. In fact, the background gameplay y'all are seeing is from one of those fantasy tracks. There is the cars. All the cars look amazing. And if you have not played this game, and you go to play it, oh my god, you are in for a treat when it comes to sounds. All the cars sound incredible. It is literally one of my favorite things about this game. It's just how all the cars sound. They sound fantastic. I can't say it enough. And then on top of that, they all look fantastic. And then on top of that, the damage model is incredible. And then on top of that, the actual physics and handling of the cars is super duper fun. And this game just blew me out of the water. It blew me out of the water with how fun it is and how good it is. And if you do not have it and you really, really enjoy racing games, you owe it to yourself to go out and get this game. Or it's on Game Pass now on Xbox. So if you have Game Pass, go play it. Seriously, just pause the video, go download the game, and go play it. And with that, we're going to move on to number 3. Spotting its way into number 3 on the list, and multiplayer game of the year for me, is Splatoon 3. This game, although it does have its issues, like Nintendo's still archaic understanding of online and the fact that tricolor turf war during Splatfests is still kind of pointless to play, because there's no guarantee you'll get into a tricolor game. The things that they have done to fix it, for me at least, kind of overshadow the small issues that the game has. Like, Splatoon still, once you get into a game, it works. Once you get into the game and you have a stable connection, everything works, and it's a blast to play. Matches, to me, are like Rocket League, where they're really fun, but they're all really bite-sized, so you can just play match after 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 match. I have a great time, because they're only 3-minute games. Heck, you can even just hop in for a couple games and feel like you got something out of it, because they're only 3-minute matches. So in 30 minutes, you can play like 5 or 6 matches. Back to back to back to back to back, really quickly. And the weapons are fun. Although I will say, there's things like the roller, but I don't think the roller is really going to be fixable. I think that's just how they designed the roller. And then there is Salmon Run, which they have made huge improvements to, like the bosses, which when you're in the menu and in the waiting area, you'll see a little bar that looks like a big giant fish or a big giant salmonoid, and when that's full, your next game that you get all the way through the final stage will have an extra bonus boss at the end that you have to beat, and they're very difficult. Also, they added something really cool that it wasn't actually until I went to record this that I actually played this. The footage you're seeing is from on my live stream. They added it's like a limited time kind of mode where you can play Salmon Run on like normal multiplayer maps. Like the gameplay in your background you're seeing is from a big run where we got Inkblot Art Academy, which is a normal PvP multiplayer map. That's cool that they're doing that. It's cool to play. It's cool to play Salmon Run on these maps that really weren't built for it, but still work with it, and it's crazy. And it's also hard. It is harder than normal Salmon Run, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just a ton of fun. Like, I can't really fault it too much because it's just a ton of fun for me. Coming in at number 2 on our list is Pokemon Legends Arceus. And between Legends Arceus, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, and Scarlet and Violet, Legends Arceus blows Scarlet and Violet and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl out of the water. Like, it's a landslide as to which of the 3 is the best quality product here. And why is that? Well, firstly, between the 3, Legends Arceus has the most unique catching mechanic. In fact, the only thing as unique across the entire franchise that I have played in terms of catching mechanics is Pokemon Ranger. And even this is more unique than that, because in Pokemon Ranger, you still have to directly engage the Pokemon in a battle, effectively, to catch it. In this, you don't even have to engage Pokemon in a battle to catch it. You can just sneak up on them and catch them. In fact, the game takes advantage of the fact that this is a mechanic, because you can just sneak up on entire groups of Pokemon and just go boom, 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 catch all of them. In fact, it encourages you to catch as many Pokemon as possible for your Pokedex. Because the Pokedex, instead of just it being a one-and-done kind of thing where you catch it once and it's all filled out for you, you have to catch the Pokemon dozens and dozens and dozens of times to get more information on it, to get your Pokedex completion. This game is more polished than Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl or Scarlet and Violet. And it's been more polished from the get-go. From the drop, it's been more polished. Like, I have not encountered any, if at all, major bugs with Legends Arceus. Because there's, for me at least, there's not been any. The game's ran perfect the entire time for me. The bosses are unique. With the bosses, it's you have to fight a big giant Pokemon, and the story. I actually haven't even beaten the story. It's that long of a game that I still haven't beat the whole game. So, if you're looking for a game that has a long story that you can sit down and commit a ton of time to, this or number 1 is going to be the game for you. The variants are super interesting. Like, there's variants of current Pokemon, but they're different because you go back in the past. So that's another cool thing. Also, unless you have heard the final boss music, it's the bad guy at the end is going to be a real big twist. And with that, on to number 1, our game of the year. And coming in at number 1, and my game of the year is Persona 5 Royal. And this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that knows me well. I do want to quickly address a little elephant in the room with this one. Yes, I am aware that this is actually a PS4 game that has just been forward ported. It still counts as a new release to me because it's a new release on new hardware that the game's never been on. So, because of that, it counts. And honestly, aside from being a really good looking game, a really deep story, and just being fun to play, even though I haven't fully beat it, the biggest reason that it's at number one, aside from, the other stuff I just mentioned, I can plug in my Xbox controller to my PC, turn on the game, and it boots up. I can play the game, and I'm not having to worry about if the game's gonna crash, if the game's gonna break completely, if, I'm gonna load up Steam and there's gonna be like a 50 gigabyte, 50 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte, whatever patch for the game because they need to fix something. And I don't have to worry, every single time I boot up about that because they're, the game boots up and plays. Literally. That's the biggest reason, aside from being fun and it being a deep story and it being a good looking game, is that it boots up and there's no issues. And the only reason I haven't been able to finish the game is simply down to the fact I just haven't had the time. Which is sad. So, on to the conclusion and the end of this video. Before I end this off, I just want to apologize for how long this video has taken to come out. I have been working on it, but I've just been busy with other stuff, and then there's also my number one of Persona 5 Royal, which has kind of been an issue because of Atlius's guidelines on showing gameplay of Persona 5 Royal, and because of that, I've been trying to figure out how to show Persona 5 Royal and fit it into the video at the end. And yeah, those two things are why this video has taken so long to come out. I actually had it planned to come out in January, then February, and now it's March and I'm finally getting this video out. So I am deeply sorry. Really, it has just come down to I've been busy and then the Persona 5 issues with showing gameplay of Persona 5 because of Atlius's guidelines. So with that, thank you guys not only for watching this video, but for those of you who have been on the channel all throughout the year, supporting the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Here's to another year of videos, and bye for now. Peace!